Hey everybody, I hope you are doing well. I am Afefe with Touch by Tarot. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I often do week ahead check-ins from the spirit guides, and I also do full moon and new moon intuitive readings. So always check in with me around the new moon and the full moon. If you're new to my channel, I'm so glad you landed here. Glad the algorithm worked in my favor, and I hope you like what you see. And please, hit that like button, subscribe, and notification bell. My regulars, mwah, you know how I feel. I really appreciate you, and I'm glad you're back for another pick a card. I was led this morning to do, been writing down some topics in meditation, and the one I was given this morning to do for you all is going to be a pick a card on your soul's advice for your next steps. Okay, so this is going to be a message from your soul, your higher self, for your next steps. Many of you may be, deciding about what you're going to do next, etc. You'll know how that pings you and how that feels to you, but that was the message I was given. This reading is on your soul's advice for your next steps, and I'm looking at it past, present, and future. I have 3 separate stacks in front of me. I have not seen these cards. Your leader card to decide whether you want to choose pile 1, 2, or 3 are going to come from this incredible deck I've got. It's called Voice of the Souls Oracle. How perfect is that, right? And what's interesting is this is how I love spirit and I love what I do, because when I was in meditation, you all, thinking about the topics, and I love to do the pick a cards for you, and I want to make sure it really serves you. And that topic of advice from your souls for the next steps came up. Once I know what my topic is, I've got over 100 decks in my closet, you all. Different designs, different moods, different vibes. And so when I went in the closet and my eyes went straight to this oracle, I was like, okay, Spirit, I hear you talking, so let's go. I'm going to pull 1 card for pile 1, 2, and 3. That will be the card that you're most drawn, whichever one you're most drawn to, then that will be your pile, okay? So let's see what comes. For pile number 1, Spirit, a message from their souls for their next steps. For pile number 1, a message from their souls for their next steps, past, present, and future. All right, if you chose pile number 1, your leader card is a message of freedom. So your reading is going to tie into the notion of freedom, whatever that means to you. All right, I'll show these to you again once I get them out. That's pile number 1, a message of freedom. Pile number 2, their souls want to say about their next steps. Pile number 2, you got loss. All right, so if that pings you, you know what that's about, but that's your theme. All right, from your souls. So that's pile number 2 is loss. And pile number 3 is love. Wow. Pile number 3, love. If that pings you, that's, the message you want to hear from your souls for your next steps at this time. Okay? So let's put that over to the side for now. And let's get ready to go in. All right. Past, present, future for pile number 3. Past, present, future. Got to make some room over here. All right. I want to make sure I keep it straight. Past, present, future for pile number 2. And now we're going to go in for pile number 1. Those of you who were drawn to this message of freedom for pile number 1. All right. So let's see. Your soul for pile number 1. In the present time, what they want you to know, and this is all going to be relative to freedom. This is a message about freedom, something about that pinged you all. We have, at the present time, the moon comes for you. You're definitely in contemplation about it. There's a yearning for freedom. When we get the moon, we think about the wolves howling at the moon, right? That desire, that inner, that in those primal urges that sometimes we get, right? So for you all, your freedom right now is something that you're definitely yearning for. And with the moon, there's often a situation where it's like you know what you want, but you just don't know how to get there, right? That's the yearning. It's having identified what it is that would make you feel free at this time, what it is that you need to let go of, what you could see as the next stages of your life. But it's just figuring out how to get there. You have on either side of the moon, you have the Seven of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. At the present time, your spirit guide, your soul wants you to know it's about you having confidence in what you have already built so far. It's taking an honest assessment with the Seven of Pentacles. It's very often about taking an assessment. In this particular deck, I'm using MJ Colleen's Guardians of the Night Tarot. Gorgeous deck. The artwork is absolutely amazing. But if I could just hold that up a little bit close, see all those spider webs, right? That's you having, weaving your life. And the Queen of Wands is saying at the present time, the freedom that you're trying to think of, whether it's, the freedom to do more in your life, the freedom to travel, the freedom, financial freedom, whatever that means for you, it's about having the confidence to know that you can get it. And at this time, I think some of you are really working on yourselves and taking an honest assessment with that Seven of Pentacles to say, I know this is what I deserve. I know this is what I have built around me, and what I've tried to achieve and the goals I've set for myself. There's all these webs that I've built, this web of life around me. And now how do I use that in order to feel free? I want to go to your present and see what's there. And these are some advice, helpful cards coming out of the reading. At the present time, we have Judgment. That ties into that Seven of Pentacles where you're taking an assessment of things. And then on either side of Judgment, we have the Knight of Wands and the Five of Swords. With the Star. You pulled, that's right, this deck I remember now. You got two cards that came out together. And that's interesting that the two that were stuck together are both major arcana. At the present time, Judgment and the Star came for you. This is really hopeful, you all, and it's a really positive omen from, a message from your souls, given the topic of this reading. This is your higher self, your soul calling, that's speaking to you in this reading about your freedom. And so having gotten the Star and Judgment is a beautiful reminder from the spirit realm for you all. If you chose this deck, this pile, you have learned a lot of lessons. Life lessons about yourself, lessons about how life works, lessons about, what brings you joy and how to heal from those tougher moments. The Judgment card is it is of all the major arcana, you all, it is probably the strongest energy where oftentimes you'll see it with a trumpet in it, because it is where spirit is literally like shouting at you, from the heavens to say with that Star card, keep shining, keep hoping, keep envisioning what else is possible for you. Literally keep your head to the sky, right? And for many of you, you may be with that Star, you may be Aquarius. You may have Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You may have somebody in your life who brings Aquarius energy, because that is, the Star is ruled by Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, which is often about change. Life changes, and changes that we recognize not only impact us, but anything that we do, it's going to impact those around us. That what we are creating today, the life that we are going to live tomorrow. That is very much a message for you at this time. Okay? And this is in the present moment, pile number one. So your freedom is the freedom to believe in your soul, in your spirit guides, in God, goddess, ancestors, whatever your tradition is, in your deepest self, in knowing that there is something more. And there is something moving you, because the Knight of Wands and the Five of Swords are showing the challenges that you've been feeling around that. It's like the Knight of Wands is saying, you, and I also feel for many of you who chose this pile, this is people around you. Pay attention to who shows up around you at this time, who motivates you, encourages you, those people who, remind you just how capable you are, as opposed to those who just want to, drum up the conversations. Five of Swords is like so many different opinions coming from different places. Within you, it can also be you jumping from one idea to another, having, today I'm positive, tomorrow not so much. Today I'm positive, tomorrow not so much, kind of waffling back and forth. And there's this, this Knight of Wands is basically saying, look, pick a team, pick a team and stick with it. Like, if you're going to have that confidence, that beautiful energy that we just saw, if I can get my words out, show up for you in that Star in the Judgment, you're going to believe. And even on those icky days, you have to pull, that's when you pull on your faith more than ever and say, I know where I'm headed. I know that freedom is my objective. It could be, for some of you, it could be trying to think about retirement or thinking about how to get out from underneath debt. I'm feeling that for a lot of you as well, all right? It could be the freedom from just feeling free, feeling free in your life to not just do what you feel like you have to do, but the things that bring you joy and those that you want to do. Definitely available for you, but you got to utilize that Knight of Wands energy and decide, no matter what, I'm going to keep going, and cancel out some of those. If you're taking in too many, if you're the type of person who, maybe you do have a support network and you go to people, your family, your friends, etc., your spouse, your lover, and everybody's got a different opinion from your own, and then it kind of gets you to back up from what you yourself know your soul's message is saying. And relative to your freedom, pay attention to you first. It's not about discounting that valuable advice, it's not about canceling anything out, but it is about getting back to center and paying attention to what you know for yourself. All right. Now, in the future, what's going to be important for you all? You've got the 7 of Wands, the 10 of Wands, and the 10 of Cups. Wow. There's a fullness and a culmination for you all in terms of deciding. 7 of Wands is this card that's requiring you to have bravery. It's requiring, your soul is saying, your next step is to figure out for yourself, what do you stand on? Maybe that's one reason why in the beginning and in the recent past, you got that 7 of Pentacles, because 7s being a very deeply spiritual number, also being a number where it is about evaluation. It is about, I've gotten to this point and I know I need to go a little bit farther. What's it going to take for me to get there? And that's what your spirit team is saying to you right now. Your soul is saying to you, relative to you having that freedom, a message from freedom, it is really evaluating and reclaiming even what you stand for, what this area of life, what it is that would make you feel free. What does that mean to you? What is your definition of that? Is it time for you to redefine it? Is it time for you to go back and revisit it? Is there a time when you knew what it felt like and you want to capture or recapture that? Because the 10 of Cups would say, yes, there has been that time, and you do see it within your reach. The 10 of Cups being an incredibly beautiful, yummy domestic card. It is maybe, the freedom to socialize. For many of you, if you have really been cooped up and you're still maybe not so comfortable, getting out and about and around people, maybe that's the courage that's being, that you're being called upon. Your soul is calling upon you to really spark up at this time, because your soul is wanting to get out and around people and wanting to lighten your load a little bit, lighten up, literally lighten up. 10 of Wands is where you've carried too much. You've done so much that you've begun to get burned out. Perhaps something that used to really excite you and stir you up to want to do it a lot. Your career, how you've lived your life, your passions, even your hobbies that maybe you were once very passionate about. But then everything began to just pile up on you. And I feel like this is over a period of time. You don't get to the 10 of Wands overnight. 10 of Wands energy, that oppressive, carrying too much, doing too much, at the verge of burnout, that comes over a period of time. So whatever this is that has kept you from feeling free, pile number 1, it is something that has been in place over a period of time. And what your soul is saying is that at this time is where you finally hit that mark of, okay, I want to reset the clock, with the Judgment and the Star coming for you. It's time to reset that clock. It's time to sit down and have an honest assessment about what it means to you. Freedom as a concept or freedom as a goal? two different things, right? Because I think conceptually, you know what that is. You know what your soul is longing for, but it's about putting those things into place. All right, pile number one. I have a few advice cards for you, or tools that will help you. One is you have dance with grace, with being cracked open. Really, this is a breakthrough. Cracked open is a beautiful compliment to judgment, by the way, because judgment is that if only, I should have known this, or now I do recognize this, or now I know exactly how to go about doing the next steps. It clicks. It's where something just really clicks for you. So that's going to happen for you. I've got cracked open. I've got an herb that will help you is lion's mane, and it's for leadership. Lion's mane. All right, I'll hold that up for you. That's an herb. I've heard of it, but I'm not very familiar with it. But certainly you can look that up. That's what Spirit is saying, something that would be helpful to you. Lion's mane. And a stone that will be helpful for you is celestite. And it comes in your third eye chakra. Celestite. Okay? So look that up as well. That's another stone. I have not personally worked with it, but, excuse me, I got to grab some cards that fell. I have not personally worked with celestite, you all, but you can certainly look it up. It's Celestite, celestite. And it's supposed to be, according to this deck, I always look at where on the body it comes. It's coming in that third eye chakra. All right? So that's being able to see, and so that you can execute the plan. Dancing with grace is allowing yourself to have that movement. It reminds me of that Knight of Wands that you got, pile number one. It's definitely time to shake it up. Cracked open you got. Rock bottom. We just said that a moment ago in so many words, in terms of having reached a point where it's just time to reset the clock. It's time to reset your priorities and really kind of get it down. Write down a plan. See yourself. What does freedom mean? Not as a concept, but as a goal, as something that is achievable. The star card. What does it look like to you? What is your true vision of freedom at this time? And surrender to the alchemy of life. That is you being cracked open, pile number one. All right? This process, your soul and the message right now is coming through strongly that this process that you've undergone was to get you right here, right now, to get cracked open. For some of you, you had to get to this point of being, I don't want to do this anymore. Perhaps I can't do it this way anymore. And that is what is kind of getting you cracked open to receive the vision, that star and that judgment, to receive the vision of how it is that you're going to go forward and how you're going to live a life that feels freer to you. That is your message from Freedom Pile number one. And I hope that resonated for you. It is a very powerful message. And it is a message that you've earned. That's really how this energy came up for me. It's a message that it's the freedom that you desire is not something that is beyond your reach. It is something that is going to take practical steps from you to begin to realize, to begin to put it into motion and see yourself living the way that you want to live. See yourself beyond the current situation if it feels restricting to you, and to see yourself always in the presence of your soul, in the presence of your spirit guides, and allow those who show up to help you to really lighten your load, help you laugh. That 10 of Cups sticks out in my mind for me with you all. You have earned a time of laughter, a time of support, a time of joy, and a time of feeling free to take advantage of all the goodness that life holds for you. And not just chores and responsibilities and feelings. Some of you really have felt isolated. You could be surrounded by people and still feel isolated, right? Because there's something, whatever that internal thing is for you all, and only you know how that plays out. But that internal thing is where spirit, your soul is saying, there is help available for you, and all it just needs is for you to hold your hand out, to do that dance, to move forward and say, I'm here and I'm ready for you, and then watch it show up for you. All right, pile number one. For pile number two, let me put your future there. There's that. Your past. For pile number 2, those of you who were drawn to this card from the Soul's Oracle deck, loss. Feels sort of self-explanatory on the face of it, right? If you were drawn to this deck, somehow, some way you are grappling with loss. You've experienced some form of loss in your lives. This could be, loss comes in so many ways. It comes in, of course, life itself. If you've lost loved ones, pets, etc., who are loved ones. If you've lost a job. If you've lost, some people, I read for someone recently who said, I just feel like I've lost time. Because so much time has passed by, and sometimes we stay in a period of limbo, and we look around, and 5-10 years has gone by, and we go, whoa, where did the time go? That could be a feeling of loss as well. But let's go in and see. I'm going to put your advice cards to the side. That'll be at the end. All right, so at the present time, pile number 2, for those who are drawn to the loss card, we have the 2 of Swords that comes with strength and justice. Wow. There's a decision for okay. There's a decision, my friends, that if you were drawn to this pile, that you're really you're standing in the gap. Your soul is sort of, standing right there in the gap for you, ready for you to just choose one way or another, ready for you to kind of get rebalanced and refocused. And it's going to take, it has taken and will continue to take some endurance on your part. I say that because your first card is the 2 of Swords. Very often when that 2 of Swords shows up, it is decision time, but it is decisions that you don't feel like you have all the information sometimes. It's I don't want to, it's like where you stay in the mindset of, I don't want to make the wrong decision. So then you kind of stall out, and rather than actually taking action, that's where that time goes by that we were talking about, because you sit in contemplation, reflection, weighing things out. For you all, this is especially poignant because this decision, 2 of Swords, came with justice. Air, swords, ruled by Libra. Okay, so this is a lot of air. This is a lot of you being in your thoughts, going through that process, whatever that loss is for you. And I feel like for some of you, it could even be compiled lost, where it's been life, it's been loved ones, it's been a job, it's been where you lived, it's been friendships, it's been a lot of stuff. And you are recalibrating your connection to your relationships. You may have even gotten to a point where you're not sure what you can rely on, depend on, and trust because of how things have changed. Very often when we experience loss of anything, again, a job, whatever area of life, it is loss. It is something that we were invested in, something that was a part of us that is no longer there. And that is why at the present time, you've got the Strength card, you all. If you could be Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or have someone Leo in your life, because the Strength card is ruled by Leo. But Leo is a card of not just courage, but endurance. Leo is a card of character development. We think about Leo, the lion-hearted, being able to operate from your heart, even if your heart has taken a hit. Even if your heart is sad or there's been a time of life that has really shaken you up. Strength comes to remind you that part of what happens in life is it builds that inner fortitude. And it requires us to stand up to the situation at hand and decide, okay, I am at this place of my life having changed because of this loss, but I still have life left to live. I still have opportunities in front of me. It is where you endure, you choose to endure, and you choose not to let yourself be overwhelmed. And that is the choice of that 2 of Swords that's waiting for you to make. And you've got this beautiful Justice card, with the bat, which is an interesting, symbolically, that's an interesting depiction there, because it is sort of suspending yourself. And also, we think about bats at night, having that deeper vision to be able to reestablish your life from that place of your soul. That is your soul's message for your next steps in terms of what's most impacting you from the past. It has been your ability to endure, the need for you to endure whatever this loss has been. I want to take a look at it in the present time. I have the Eight of Swords, the Hermit, and the Wheel of Fortune. Got it. Wow, Spirit is really speaking for you all. If this loss has prompted you to withdraw from relationships, if you've lost someone in a romantic context, if you had a breakup, say, for instance, and it's got you, this is just an example, of course, won't apply to everyone, but as an example, theoretically, if you went through that, and so sometimes the knee-jerk in our healing process is we just decide, I don't want to date right now. I don't want to be around, I don't even want to think about romance right now. I'm just going to do me. To a certain extent, that makes sense, but for some of you, your first card is the Eight of Swords. And so there is this, you're doing what you need to do because you're in survival mode after this loss in whatever area. But ultimately, the Eight of Swords is where doing that actually it does more harm than good. Because it's telling you, it's giving you a limitation on the truth of what life is really trying to show you at this time. The Wheel of Fortune, ruled by Jupiter, by the way, about growth, expansion, becoming more. And so in the process of life, what the Wheel of Fortune is coming here to remind you that loss is a part of life, death and rebirth, starts and stops, beginnings and endings. It's all a part of the cycle of life. And that is what the Wheel of Fortune comes to remind us, that life is always in movement and there's different stages of life. And loss happens to be one of those difficult stages that's meant for us to keep going. You've got the Hermit, which again pointed me to the idea that this loss has caused you at the present time to sort of, you're in this sit back, I need to regroup, I need to figure myself out. Maybe even many of you, the Hermit can indicate that many of you have taken your health more seriously. You've really dedicated yourself to rebuilding your physical health, your mental health, and also your spiritual health. Some of you this loss could have really prompted you to go on that spiritual quest, to take your studies, to the next level, to take your practices to the next level. And that's all a beautiful thing, to go that way, but also not cut yourself off from the help that is available to you, because the Wheel of Fortune wants you to keep it in perspective. There's that saying, I said this in a reading recently, this too shall pass. Okay? This too shall pass. And it's not to say that the impact of it won't always be with you, but your ability to process it and know where you want to go from here changes. You'll come out of that Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is really where you begin to beat yourself up, where you begin to replay so many tapes in your head about what life was or how you imagined it was going to be. And then you experience this incredible loss. And it's like, I just didn't see this coming. I don't think I deserve it. There can be a sense of feeling victimized by some things that have happened to you, and that can feed into that Eight of Swords energy. But Spirit is saying they want you to recognize and go farther with it, right? The Hermit taking, maybe you have needed this time to spend more and pay attention to yourself, but don't forget that there's more to life coming for you. Really, don't forget that with Jupiter, there is more to life coming for you. And with that Wheel of Fortune, I want to take a look at the near future. You've got Strength, the Queen of Swords, and the Nine of Wands. Perfect, you are, because put that up there with that, because here's the deal. With Strength, many of you have learned that you're stronger than you knew. And sometimes we don't know that until we get tested, until we're hit and faced with those losses, with those ways that life can change on us, sometimes on a dime and sometimes over a long period of time. We all experience these things in different ways. But the impact nevertheless can be just, heavy for all of us. And so strength is something that you have built. And Spirit is saying just a little bit farther. Your healing is right there. The Nine of Wands is saying you just push it just a little bit farther because it's almost done. And all the work that you have been doing on yourself is powerful. You've got the Queen of Swords here. For some of you, if you have sought out therapy, it's been wonderful. Could be talk therapy because of swords. I'm looking at this air element. It could be talk therapy that has worked for you. If you have not pursued that and you're thinking about it, that could be an avenue that your soul is speaking to for you right now, is to think about that and the benefits of that. Take time to get your thoughts out. That could be something as well, coming with this Nine of Wands, where it lightens your load. Just being, we call it, sometimes venting, right? Just to vent, just to be able to get it out. And for some of you as well, if it feels just too private or you're not ready to do that, then you can get it out in a journal. You can get it out, just writing it out, writing it down. You can get it out, just speaking it out in your prayers to your spirit guides, Allow your soul to minister to you. All right? That's a very powerful thing, because what's happening is you have been building strength all along pile number 2. You've been building strength. Your soul has been strengthening you all along. Whether it felt like it or not, that's what's been happening with you. I want to see what your advice is. You have Hyrith, who is a goddess I'm not familiar with, but it says longing for home, homesick for the stars. That's the loss. All right. So that your spirit, your soul is acknowledging that for many of you, homesick being perhaps the loss has caused you to be in a state of mind where you've been thinking really, really preoccupied with the past, really preoccupied with how life took certain turns for you that you didn't see coming, that you don't think were fair, that you don't quite know, how do I recapture or recalibrate my life? So there's that homesickness that you've been feeling. Your herb that's recommended from your soul is cat's claw, and it says here purification. All right? So if you're not familiar with that, you might want to look that up and investigate it a little bit. But purification. And it could be that it is your body that has to undergo, your body, mind, and spirit that has to go or is undergoing a period of purification, a period of releasing what you cannot control, releasing the past so that you can begin to hone in on what you want. Sunstone is a crystal that comes for you that would be beneficial for you at this time. And notice that it comes in the solar plexus chakra. It is a sign of reminding you of the joy of life, the promise of life, the promise of success. Energetically, fire, the solar plexus, confidence, fire in the belly, ready to get up and do it again, ready for more, desiring more. So that's some energy that would definitely do you well. And you got just breathe. Wow. Just breathe. Your soul is saying, pile number 2, acknowledging the loss, not making light of it at all, not just being, let it go, release. That's easier said than done, especially when the stakes are high. And the vibe that I'm getting from this reading is the stakes were high. Like these losses were heavy. And I also feel like for some of you, it was more than one over a period of time. It could have been, multiple people in your lives transitioning. It could have been, again, a life lost and then a job lost or a friendship lost or whatever. But there's been several things, I think, for you all over a period of time. And that's that purification. That just breathe is you've needed some time to really, that's that hermit energy. Again, I get it. These came together so beautifully. Your reading came together really beautifully, pile number 2. Because that hermit energy, you needed to step away. But spirit doesn't want you to do it. Your soul doesn't want you to do it to the exclusion of allowing yourself the interactions with people, to open your heart back up, to keep yourself, that's that strength that came for you, to keep yourself believing that there is more. that what you have, and also being willing to take the risk. That's coming clear for some of you as well. Sometimes when we experience the loss, the reason we don't date again, the reason we don't pursue the job and the career, or, pursue our dreams, is because once we know what loss is like, we're like, don't ever want to feel that again. But that's the strength. That's your soul reminding you are stronger than you know. And even in this, you became stronger. You became stronger. And that's the just breathe. And the purification is remembering that for you, it's about getting back to your center at this time, and getting back to a place of recognizing that all of the people and circumstances that have been in your life up until now, whether they're still here or they have somehow transitioned out, they served a greater purpose from your soul's perspective, because they were experiences that have given you more texture, more character, more strength, more desire even to see this life through in its next phase and its next phase after that. All right? That's why you got that Wheel of Fortune. Keep your eyes on the prize. And also, Wheel of Fortune ruled by Jupiter. And keeping in mind, I talked about this recently, Jupiter is transiting in Taurus right now. So there is a lot of growth. There's a lot of spiritual over the next year, from May of 2023 to May of 2024. There's a lot of growth available to you, to all of us. But that's coming through very strongly in your reading pile number 2, is the growth that is available to you through this loss. Okay? All right. Wishing you the best. Let me know how it goes. All right. And finally, we're going to move on to those who chose love. A message from your souls for your next steps regarding love in your lives. Pile number 3. Let's see what's happening. Oh, and I just saw this. This is pile number 3, and this love is numbered 3. So this is definitely, I feel like you're going to get some strong messages already going into this reading. All right, let me put your advice cards to the side. And move these off to the side here. All right, so pile number 3. At the present time, your soul wants you to know in regards to love and your next steps, we have an 8 of Cups, the Sun, and the 4 of Pentacles at the present time. There's a push-pull with some of you. There's a push-pull going on with some of you relating to love in your lives at this time, pile number 3. And I say that because on the one hand, you've got the 8 of Cups, which is a powerful card about being ready to move on emotionally, right? Love, very often we're responding from our heart chakra. It is a very watery energy in terms of our emotional capacity for love. And so the 8 of Cups is that card of being ready to let the past go, putting the past behind you, and moving on to the next thing. It could also be where you are reaching a point. For some of you, I'm feeling you're reaching a point where you're going to be ready to move on from whatever has really got you bogged down emotionally, your emotional attachment to something that is not serving you. You could be reaching that threshold of saying, that's it, I am ready to move on. However, the 4 of Pentacles, that's this push-pull I was saying when I went into this, because with the 4 of Pentacles, very often there's a tendency for us to hold on to what we know. So for instance, maybe using it as an example, maybe you're in a job that no longer excites you, that no longer challenges you, that no longer is, you're not being given the rewards and the recognition that you deserve. And so you're at that point where either you have moved on recently, or you're thinking you're getting to that point where you're like, I'm not doing this anymore. I am ready to move on. Because you want to love what you do. All of this ties back to love. And it's also about showing yourself love, loving yourself enough to do right by yourself and not tolerating less than you deserve. But the 4 of Pentacles says, well, But just remember those credit card bills are coming due every month, right? Remember the mortgage, remember the kids, remember these different obligations that we have. And so the Four of Pentacles, that's the push-pull, where on the one hand, the Eight of Cups says you're ready to do this, you're about to do this, or you recently have decided to move on from something. And the Four of Pentacles comes to say, well, I know, but, right? Here's your third card. In the recent past, the Sun. And this is reminding you the Sun is a card of life. It is life-giving. It is very often you'll see children at play in a Sun card. It is about, creating the life that you deserve, co-creating the life that you deserve. It is about passion and romantic passion. It is about love. It is about allowing yourself to experience love as a human being on this planet. Love is the most powerful force among us all, right? It is the thing that motivates us. It is the thing that we spend our lives in search of in some form or another. And so the Sun comes here to say, keep your eye on that, recognizing that that is a driving and motivating force for you. It is knowing that, feeling yourself standing out in sunlight and just having the sun beam down on you and reminding you of how fantastic life is in and of itself, how fantastic it is. And that can get you, perhaps, motivate you to get past that Eight of Cups, get really to the other side of what's been holding you back emotionally. And that Four of Pentacles, which is trusting the universe to give you more, not worrying about so much, not taking unnecessary risks. I'm not, let me do that for entertainment purposes only thing at this point. And, I'm not encouraging anybody to jump up and quit your job or leave a relationship or any of that. What I'm saying is, if you're emotional, if your love, your capacity for love and your next steps, this reading is your soul's message on your next steps. So it shows that you are preparing or prepared to do something next, to do something more in relation to your love life. And that's exactly what the Eight of Cups does. The Eight of Cups says, that's it. I'm going to leave that part behind because there is something more. And the something more is tied to your ability to truly believe that, with the Four of Pentacles, which says, okay, there's something more, but in the meantime, I got to protect what I have. All right. So at the present time, you have the Five of Swords. That's that doubtful thinking coming in, with the Two of Wands. Beautiful vision forward. That's a very nice compliment to the Eight of Cups, because the Eight of Cups is pushing you forward emotionally, and the Two of Wands is physically and spiritually. All right, here I go with the Five of Cups. Wow, you got two fives here. Fives, those cards in tarot that can be that's where we're in that little struggle moment. So Five of Swords and the Five of Cups. I get it. You are still developing your vision. That's why that Two of Wands is here. Pile number 3, your soul is saying your next step is to develop your vision. Now, I feel like for some of you, it could be where you've been sort of waiting for circumstances to change and for things to come toward you. Yes, you've been working on yourself. You've come to recognize some things that maybe, however this love drew you to that, how that's playing out in your life, and you've certainly devoted a lot of time and attention to that. But there's one thing to mull it over, and there's another thing to actually see what you want it to look like. Develop your plan for what you want it to look like. And for many of us, I think, especially in matters of love, we are almost, trained to believe that circumstances happen to us. Say, for instance, if someone's looking to date, how many Hallmark movies, I love the Hallmark Channel, how many Hallmark movies or Lifetime movies have we watched where, the person goes, to visit grandma or something, and there's that, the handsome prince that she knew from high school, blah, blah, blah. You know how those stories go. Well, there's something to be said for those stories in a Two of Wands, because it is about creating your own vision for what love is going to look like for you. And that has not been easy for you. I'm looking at you in the present moment. That Five of Swords and Five of Cups says, for some of you, you're still kind of hammering out what you want. There could be some self-doubt. I'm feeling that, especially with the Five of Swords. There could be some self-doubt. There could be, if your surroundings and historically the relationships around you and what love has meant, how it's been demonstrated in your life, if you have not, had the healthiest examples of that, then that could be part of what's hampering you at this time in terms of really utilizing that Two of Wands energy. That's why in order for you to create it, you're going to have to step away from the typical script. I'm using all these kind of movie references. I don't even know where that's coming from, but let's go with it, okay? It really is about you rewriting the script and deciding for yourself, not based on these fives, not based on, what you've known historically or what you've seen around you. I really want to go to your future. You have the Six of Swords. Let me put that. I may not be done with that. Let me put that over there to the side for now. The Lovers and the Empress. I knew it. I knew it was time for me to move here. Your next steps, your soul wants you to know that your next steps have to do with remembering who you are. You have the Empress and the Lovers. Different decks. You know how I mix up my decks because I know that's how Spirit speaks. When Spirit gives us common themes from different decks, 150% you're on track. You have the Empress and the Lovers. The Empress is ruled by Venus. We're talking about love. And it has a lot to do with not just thinking about how love has shown up for us, but the Empress energy has to do with our ability to really take ownership for creating the love we deserve. And it starts with loving ourselves and believing in our entitlement and our worth just as a simple divine human being. Just from that, not what anybody told us, not what's shown up for us so far, but understanding that intrinsically, the Empress, intrinsically, just by virtue of her energy, by virtue of being ruled by Venus, is love. Knows no other way to operate. And that with the Lovers. Your soul is saying your next steps have to do with seeing yourself in relationship to the world around you, the person you love, the person you want to love, the person you want to show up for you, the way that you love yourself, how you're taking care of your body. The Lover strives for harmony. It is not always directly related to romance and being in a physically romantic relationship, but it is always about finding harmony with another. And this other could be you in your everyday self relating to your soul, your partnership, your pact with your soul and your higher self. It is making the decisions that bring harmony, ruled by Mercury. So this is your thought process. This is the thought process that propels you to then act. We think and then we act. We speak and then we act. But what you're thinking and speaking on is got to be in harmony with what brings you all this beautiful joy and abundance. This is love coming at you from many different angles, pile number 3. And also divine, it just hit me. I pointed out when I looked down and I saw the love card had the number 3 on it. Well, what is the Empress in the major arcana? 3. For some of you, I'm feeling a timing element here. 3 to 6 months. There's something within the next 3 to 6 months. You have 2 6s that came. We talked about the Lovers, which is the 6 in the major arcana. And your third card in the future segment here is the 6 of Swords. And this is thinking about moving forward. This is how you move forward. We started out with your 8 of Cups, moving forward emotionally. And this is where it begins to click in your thought process, in your mind, in the conversations that you have with others. It's actually developing a plan. It is a plan that begins to bring in to play that Two of Wands. It's when things are going to start to come together for you. 3 to 6 months, pile number 3. Something begins to unfold. Something triggers you. I want to see what that is. Maybe it'll come through in your oracle cards. Reclaim your magic. Here we go. Reclaim your magic. So over the next 3 to 6 months, Spirit is saying your next steps, reclaim your magic. There you have it. You have your marching orders from your soul. Reclaim your magic, pile number 3. And your magic is abundance. Your magic is being able to attract to you the people, the things, the circumstances that make you feel loved, that make you operate in love, that make you more loving and willing to show up in that way. Your star ancestors show up here. Look a little deeper, lost wisdom and hidden secrets. So that's part of reclaiming your magic. Your next steps are to connect with your ancestors, to connect with your bloodline, to know that you have the energy of the Empress that's shown up for you here, pile number 3. You have somewhere in, I don't know what you've done in the past, but think about those times when you really wanted something and you believed that you could have it and you believed that it was possible. It showed up for you. Maybe not at the click of a finger, maybe, or the pop, like that snap of a finger, but it did show up for you because you have this magic about you. And it is ancestral. And your ancestors are showing up here to say, hey, don't play us cheap. We know how to help you get this. And if you have forgotten it because you've just gotten so tied up in life and some of life's disappointments, then now's that time, 3 to 6 months for you to reconnect with it. Your herb that will help, it's called mucuna. I'm not familiar with it, but I love this keyword for it. It says journey. This is the journey that you are on for the next 3 to 6 months, pile number 3. Mucuna is the card here. It is M-U-C-U-N-A. Hope you can see that. M-U-C-U-N-A. And it is journey. And it is about the journey that you are going to go on for the next 3 to 6 months to get you back into your Empress energy. Male or female, Empress energy is about abundance and being able to create and co-create with the universe the life that you deserve. There is no lack. There is, and if some of you, if there's been that limiting belief and that lack mentality, 3 to 6 months, that is where, you can call it your self-love tour, your journey into self-love. And your stone that will help you, a crystal that will help you, is carnelian. Carnelian comes in the solar plexus, in the sacral chakra. And it is very much, fundamentally, it is a card of the Empress because it has to do with sensuality and it has to do with sacred sexuality, in that meaning pleasure, being able to go after what brings you pleasure, whether it is in a romantic, intimate context, whether it is applying yourself to, I got hot during this reading, whether it is applying yourself to a life and doing the things in life that are pleasurable to you. But it is about reclaiming the magic of the Empress. I can't stress that enough for you, pile number 3. You were born with an ability to bring harmony, to bring love, to bring joy, to experience joy in relation to others. It's very important for you. The Empress doesn't create and doesn't live in abundance just to sit back and be greedy and sit on her throne and just enjoy all the things. The Empress is about spreading it throughout the earth, and those that appear on her path. Who's on your path? Because you're meant to spread it and enjoy it. And the more you do that, then it comes back to you. All right? But it is about reclaiming your magic, pile number 3. That's where the yearning, is really, that's what drew you to this pile, is your spirit, your soul saying your next steps is to reconnect with your bloodline, meaning Get back to who you really fundamentally are. And you do that by partially remembering when it is that you were abundant, when it is that you did attract what you needed. Tap back into what that felt like. Remember what those energies were and how you did it. And then remember, there is no lack. It's very powerful that you're ending your reading with the energy of the Empress, and we started out with that Four of Pentacles, that energy of, almost protecting yourself, that self-protection or protecting what you have because you're not sure that more is to come. None of that. Spirit is saying reclaim your magic, because for you, there is no lack. There is no end. Okay? All right. That was a beautiful reading. Let me know what you thought. I wish you the absolute best. If you want to book a reading with me, you can do so on my website, which is trulytouchedbytarot.com. All one word, trulytouchedbytarot.com. You can email me at touchedbytarot@gmail.com. And at the end, if you really enjoyed this reading, please do feel free to leave me a tip. I have the link to my PayPal. I call it my tip jar, my PayPal me. So you can, whatever amount. I appreciate it. It helps me to continue to get decks and bring you this content, which I absolutely love doing. All right. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.